I'm Shegun Fumi Oyedokun. Workers of the Federal Capital Territory Administration, with the backing of the Nigerian Labour Congress today, picketed the National Industrial Court in Abuja as part of an ongoing tools and indefinite strike over the unresolved labor dispute. The protest followed a directive from the LNC, which declared full support for the industrial action, describing the strike as justified amidst what is termed persistent violation of workers' rights by the FCTA management and political leadership. Placards carried by the protesters bore inscriptions such as "Wike must go," "Abuja no be rivers," "Pay promotion arrest, enough is enough," and "No work, no working tools." A standoff as the match between the House of Representatives and its minority caucus over an ad hoc committee investigating alleged altercation to the Nigerian tax law. The chairman of the minority caucus ad hoc committee, Afam Ogene, warned on Sunday that dismissing the committee's interim report will embroaden impunity and undermine the National Assembly. The remark came after House Deputy Spokesperson Philip Agbese reportedly described the report as overtaken by events following the release of the certified true copies of the affected tax laws. Members of the opposition caucus in the House of Representatives has raised serious concern over the alleged non-implementation of the 2025 Appropriation Act, with indications that they may call for the removal of the key finance officials over what they describe as the failed assurances to the legislative. In a joint statement signed by the caucus leader, Honorable Fred Agbedi and Honorable Afam Ogene, the opposition leaders announced that a strategic meeting has been scheduled for Tuesday night from 8 p.m. to deliberate on the pressing national and legislative issues. According to the statement, discussion at the meeting will focus on fiscal governance, legislative oversight, and the performance of the minority leadership in the House. Let's take on your state story now, where the police command in Oyo State has confirmed that the killing of a police inspector while a team of police officers were trying to rescue a kidnapped victim, Haruna Lawal, at the Olorunda village, Ojungbodu, in the Oyo West local government area of the state. According to the statement released by the public relations officer Olanyinka Anyolade, said the assailant abducted Lawal and escaped with his motorcycle to an unknown location. Anyolade added that the kidnapped victim, Lawal, also sustained a head injury during the attack. It explained that the victim was quickly rushed to the General Hospital in Oyo Town, where he is currently receiving appropriate medical attention. We will take a break now to return with news, and I'll be on the business news. Please stay with us. Thank you so much for staying with us on Differences Television. I'm moving ahead now to another story of the world. Give us an insight into the business world, where we have the Chief Executive Officer of Shell PLC, Mr. Swan, as the President Bola Tinubu's leadership for creating a healthy climate for investment to strive and restoring investors' confidence. At the meeting with President Tinubu at the presidential villa in Abuja recently, Swan said that Shell is deepening and expanding its investment in Nigeria, and the company is ready alongside its partners to invest an additional $20 billion, primarily because of the robust and the bold leadership of the president. According to the statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, Swan emphasized that Nigeria, under the administration of Tinubu, is one of the countries attracting significant investment from the global oil companies. Power distribution companies have expressed doubt over the directive by the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabo, that prepaid meters must be free for all categories of the customers. Operators who spoke with newsmen said that the minister made only a political statement without considering the input of other stakeholders, especially the installers and meter providers. On Thursday, the federal government and banned electricity distribution companies and installers from collecting any form of payment for meters, warning that DISCO's officials and installers found extorting customers would be prosecuted. Adelabu issued the warning during an on-site inspection of the newly imported smart meter at the APM terminal at Papa, Lagos. Adelabu said that the meters were procured under the World Bank-funded Distribution Recovery Sector Program and must be installed for consumers free of charge, stressing that any demand for money would be treated as an offense. U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened to slap a 100% tariff on Canadian goods if the country strikes a deal with China. Trump said on Truth Social, if Canada makes a deal with China, it will immediately eat a 100% tariff against all Canadian goods and products coming into the United States of America. It is unclear what deal Trump is referring to in his social media post. But remember last week, Canada's Prime Minister Carney announced a strategic partnership with China and agreed to reduce tariffs. At the time, Trump called the move a good thing, but tension between U.S. and Canada has grown in recent days after Carney said in his speech in Davos that a U.S.-led world order has been ruptured. You are still watching What News from New Frontiers Television News Center. Up next is news from the foreign scene. Do stay with us. Glad you're still there with us on New Frontiers Television. Moving ahead now on the foreign scene. Let's begin with Indonesia, which has received 3 Rafale fighters jet from France in the first deliveries from a multi-billion-dollar defense deal between the two countries. And a defense ministry official told Reuters today, making it a major upgrade to the country's aging military hardware. Jakarta, France's main armed client in the Southeast Asia, has placed order for as many as 42 Rafales built by the Dassault Aviation, as well as the French frigate and the submarines, as the archipelago step up defense spending under President Subianto, the former Special Forces commander. The aircraft have been handed over and are ready to be used by the Indonesian Air Force. The first confirmation that Indonesia has the possession of the advanced military aircraft after striking an $8 billion deal with France in 2022 and expanding its last year. A federal judge has opens a new tab new President Donald Trump's administration to delay its termination of the temporary protected status TPS for mayor, while a lawsuit challenging the termination continued. The order by the U.S. District Judge Matthew Kennelly in Chicago blocked the Trump administration from ending deportation protection for about 4,000 mayors national living in the United States. The judge said the U.S. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem's decision to end temporary protection status for immigrants lacked a genuine basis. Kennelly postponed the effective date of the government's action, which was to be Monday, and scheduled a February 6th hearing in the case. The Trump administration had no immediate reaction to the order. Meanwhile, the U.S. President Donald Trump says his administration is reviewing everything after the fatal shooting by the immigrant agent of 37-year-old intensive care nurse Alex Pretty in Minneapolis on Saturday. In his comment to the Wall Street Journal, Trump also indicated that he would eventually withdraw agents from the city, but he did not give a time frame. Protests continue in Minneapolis and other U.S. cities on Sunday as Minnesota Governor Tim warned that America was at an inflection point. The fact around the incident, the second fatal shooting by agents of U.S. citizens in recent weeks, have been hotly contested, setting up a fresh confrontation between the state and the federal officials. Still to come on the news and sport after this break. Just stay with us. you're still there with us. You're welcome back. Moving out to the sports scene where we have Sheffield United manager Chris Wilder has suggested the club is actively exploring midfield reinforcement with Brentford Nigeria's international Frank Onyeka on their radar. Onyeka's limited game time in West London, combined with his return from the African Cup of Nations duty, has made the 28-year-old midfielder available, prompting interest from several Championship and European clubs. Sheffield United are among a number of sides formerly inquiring about Onyeka, with both loan and permanent transfer options being considered as the club seeks to bolster its squad for the second half of the season. Onyeka, who has featured only sporadically for Brentford this season, brings Premier League experience and international pedigree with Nigeria, making him an attractive target for Championship side seeking energy, ball recovery and intensity in midfield. Nigerian players have emerged as the dominant force in the International Federation of Football history and statistics of the Women's African Six, with 4 Super Falcons stars included in the best women's team on the continent for 2025. The selection released by the IFFHS as its Women's CAF Team of the Year 2025 features goalkeeper Chimamaka Nnadozie, defender Michelle Alozie, and Plutrell, and midfielder Christy Uchebe and Rashidat Ajibade, which underlines Nigeria's continued influence in the Africa women's football. Nnadozie anchored the side in goal, reflecting her reputation as the Africa's leading goalkeeper through her performances for Nigeria, French club Paris FC, and the English club Brighton and Hove Albion, where she has combined consistent shot stopping with leadership responsibility. Tochukwu Nnamdi has indicated his willingness to join the West Ham United, with the Premier League club preparing a 5-year contract for the 22-year-old midfielder. The Nigerian international, who recently returned from the African Cup of Nations duty, is understood to be attracting interest from several English and European clubs, but West Ham are reportedly leading the race for his signature. Sources say discussion over personal terms have been positive, and over an agreement is finalized. Negotiations over a transfer fee with his Belgian club are expected to follow. Discussions between Nnamdi and West Ham were positive, with the Nigerian midfielder signaling his desire to move to Premier League club. Negotiations regarding personal terms are advancing smoothly, and once these are finalized, the two clubs are expected to commence a talk over that transfer fee. That concludes the World News from New Frontiers Television News Center. Many thanks for joining us. I am Segun Funmi Oyedokun. Good afternoon.